On January 24, the fierce Kata'ib Hezbollah militia publicly declared its unwavering readiness to plunge headlong into any full-scale war purely in fierce defense of ally Iran against aggressors. The battle-hardened group issued a rallying cry, urgently calling on resistance fighters scattered across the volatile region to immediately mobilize for an all-encompassing comprehensive war without hesitation. In its fiery and propagandistic message broadcast widely, Kata'ib Hezbollah dramatically framed the looming potential conflict as a sacred religious struggle of epic proportions, Press TV reports. It exalted the iron-fisted Iran regime as the unassailable core and beating heart of the entire Muslim world, reverently calling it the ultimate defender of the oppressed masses everywhere. The militant group issued a blood-curdling warning that any foolhardy military operation launched against Iran would inevitably inflict heavy, irrecoverable losses on all its sworn enemies. This incendiary rhetoric brutally underscores the terrifying risk of a cataclysmic wider conflict exploding to engulf proxy groups entrenched in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and distant Yemen simultaneously. The ominous message detonates amid skyrocketing tensions between Iran and the US, with both superpowers openly trading ultimatums laced with explicit threats to unleash military force. This explosive development erupts as the US Secretary of State issued a blunt warning to Iraq against foolishly forming a puppet pro-Iran government beholden to Tehran's whims. A powerful Shiite bloc has shockingly nominated Nouri al-Maliki as the next prime minister. The US views this as blatant Iranian influence creeping deeper into Baghdad's corridors of power. Rubio sternly warned such a seismic move could inexorably draw Baghdad straight into the crosshairs of a brewing Iran-US confrontation with devastating consequences for all. Intriguingly, this urgent call came mere days after the US military completed its full and long-awaited withdrawal from Iraqi soil after years of presence. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio held tense direct talks with Iraq Prime Minister Shia al-Sudani on January 25 to hammer home these critical red lines amid the chaos. Rubio's pointed message thundered forth precisely as a US warship boldly neared Iran's territorial waters despite Tehran's furious warnings of swift and merciless retaliation. Maliki, the wily ex-PM of Iraq, boasts long-standing deep ties to militant Shiite factions intimately close to and aligned with Tehran's revolutionary ideological machine. A dominant Iranian faction seizing power in Baghdad could disastrously complicate America's delicate military posture in any looming future confrontation across the theater. Meanwhile, America's aggressive plans for all-out war on Iran are reportedly hitting brutal opposition from jittery Gulf allies desperate to avoid the fallout. Earlier this month, a prominent Qatari royal delivered a withering warning to the US, bluntly stating it remains a tenant, not the owner of the vital Al-Udeid Air Base on sovereign soil. Al-Udeid stands as the largest and most critical US military base in the entire Middle East, hosting tens of thousands of American troops and aircraft ready for action. The Qatari royal coldly asserted that abruptly shutting down the sprawling base would not harm Qatar much at all, but would savagely cripple US power projection overnight. The royal ominously warned the US that eviction would feel like cutting off one of your hands in the Middle East, rendering operations hopelessly hamstrung. Qatar reportedly increasingly sees the base's immense strategic value as flowing disproportionately more to Washington's war machine than providing tangible benefits to Doha itself. The sprawling Al-Udeid Air Base in Qatar was brazenly targeted by Iran for bloody revenge strikes during the savage 12-day war that scorched the region back in June 2025.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.